Welcome back to the series where I turn pride flags into Pokemon teams. For this video, I am doing the Sunset Aroace flag. Now I may be biased and my name is SkyLaaa, but I absolutely love this flag. I am such a huge fan of sunsets and sky pictures. Aroace is a combination of both aromantic and asexual, which is someone that experiences little to no attraction when it comes to romantic relationships or sexual relationships. Now, I've done pride flag teams for both asexual and aromantic, so if you haven't seen those videos yet, I highly recommend it. But today I am using a full team of Pokemon with the colors of the Aroace flag. If you have a pride flag that you would like to see for a Pokemon team, be sure to comment one down below, and I will use it. And with that being said, let's get right into these battles. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, lovely people. Today I am using a Sunset Aroace flag team. A lot of the Pokemon on this team have very summery vibes, like Vivian and Slitherwing, Floatzel. Basically, every Pokemon on this team really fits like a sunset or like summer. Well, except for Cryogonal, but that Pokemon really matches it in its shiny anyway. Now, if you enjoy these videos where I turn pride flags into Pokemon teams, or I use really interesting Pokemon teams like this, then please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. And with that, let's get right into this first game. So, my opponent is going to go ahead and lead off with the Palafin. Immediately, I know this Pokemon is maybe going to want to flip turn, or definitely want to get it into its hero form. I have my Alolan Raichu, so the Palafin definitely gets scared out by an electric move from this thing. But little does my opponent know that I'm running the worst set of all time on this. So I go for the knockoff as the Excadrill comes in. I do knock off its air balloon. Now I'm going to try to go for the Endure. Now the thing about this Raichu set is that I don't actually have any electric move on this at all. I was really hoping that they would go for the Earthquake and get me down to 1 HP. But unfortunately they set up the Stealth Rock. So I have to go into my Slitherwing here and like tank whatever hit this this Excadrill goes for versus me. They're going to go for the Rapid Spin, not the Earthquake, which I thought, but I'm running a defensive Slitherwing, so I'm going to be able to tank that hit. Now, the item I have on this is Leftovers, and on this set, I have Will-O-Wisp, Body Press, Morning Sun, and Whirlwind. And I am fully physically defensive, so I can make the most out of Body Press, which goes off of my defense, and I'm running Terra Water on this as well. Now this turn, I thought for sure that the Excadrill was going to swap out, fearing like a fighting type move. So I went into my Float Cell thinking that they might go into their Volcarona. But unfortunately, they just go for the Iron Head. So I thought, well, okay, if they want to stay in with their Excadrill, I'm just going to Revenge KO them with my Float Cell. I'm running a Choice Scarf Float Cell, so I'm going to be able to outspeed... Well, I outspeed them anyway, but I'm going to be able to outspeed them after the Rapid Spin boost. Now this Alolan Raichu set, it is truly something terrible. So this is a physical Alolan Raichu, but on top of that, I don't even have any electric or psychic moves. I have an Endure reversal set with the Lychee Berry to boost my attack and also just do as much damage as possible with non-stab reversal, which is amazing. I also have a Upper Hand on this set, and Upper Hand is really interesting because it stops priority moves. So, Palafin comes in its hero form now. I'm going to go for the Endure. I want to pop my my Lychee Berry. The Palafin is going to go for the Jet Punch, which is obviously going to take me down to 1 HP. And that's going to activate my Lychee Berry, giving me an attack boost. I'm also running Terra Fighting on this to boost Reversal and also Upper Hand. So I'm going to go for the Upper Hand. It does really like nothing, but it does get the guaranteed flinch. And as I go for another Upper Hand, the Palafin gets flinched again. Upper Hand really only works if the opponent goes for a priority move. I actually force out the Palafin with Upper Hand Alolan Raichu, which is definitely a sentence. So Vileplume comes in. I knew that there was a chance that this could be like a defensive Vileplume. I still did quite a chunk with Reversal, but unfortunately it is Rocky Helmet. Not that I expected to do a lot of damage to this Pokemon anyway. So, yeah, my Alolan Raichu gets fainted there. But I'm going to be able to bring in my Cryogonal here. This is a pretty interesting Cryogonal set. I'm running a more offensive Cryogonal. And this has an Expert Belt to boost the super effective damage, which works really well with Freeze Dry. I also have Chilling Water and Terra Blast with Terra Ghost. If I go for a Terra Ghost Terra Blast on the Ghost types, then I do some really massive super effective damage to them. I also think it's funny that Cryogonal is on this team, but I think that this Pokemon matches the Aroace flag really well with the orange eyes and the blues of its body. So I'm going to be able to take out the the Vileplume with the Freeze Ride, which is nice, but the Palafin comes in, and I know that with Cryogonal's paper thin defenses, I'm not going to be able to take a Jet Punch. At this point, I assume that this Palafin is Choice Banded, so I'm going to have to sacrifice my Vivian. That was a Focus Sash Vivian, but the Stealth Rocks really, like, they really hampered my Vivian, so I need to get rid of them as soon as possible. So the Clefable comes in. I'm going to Terrasilize my Slithering because I'm Terra Water, and I really want to reliably switch into the Palafin's Water type moves. And if they're running Choice Band, I anticipate that there may be like Flip Turn, Jet Punch, possibly Wave Crash, and like Ice Punch. So putting the Fountain on my head, and the Body Press does nothing to this Clefable. I'm actually hard countered by this because if they're Magic Guard, then the Will-O-Wisp Burn is not going to do anything to this. And Moonblast is still going to do a chunk to me. And, like, Body Press is doing, like, very negligible damage. So, I really need to be able to answer this Clefable. But first, I need to switch in my Cryogonal and get off the Rapid Spin. Because I'm not running Heavy Duty Boots on this. So, I'm always going to be taking Stealth Rock. And Clefable is going to go for freaking Thunder Wave. So, that's annoying. I kind of anticipated that as well. So, I didn't want to hard switch into, like, my Float Soul or my Toucannon. So, they're going to get some Leftovers recovery. And I thought, well, okay, all I need to do is get off the Rapid Spin on this. I outspeed them while paralyzed, but I freaking get paralyzed, unfortunately. And then they critical hit with the Moonblast. I was like, no, I need to get off this spin. Because I need to switch in my Slitherwing safely, and also my Toucannon is going to get hit by Stealth Rocks too. So thankfully, I am able to get off the Rapid Spin, and that is going to get rid of the Stealth Rocks. That is also going to ensure that the Stealth Rocks are not going to be in play anymore, considering the Excadrill and Fated. And I'm going to get taken out by the second Moonblast. So I thought, okay, well, I need to hit this Clefable with some really hard, super effective damage. And I think my Toucannon can be capable of just that. So going for the Flash Cannon, I'm a Sheer Force Life Orb Toucannon. The Clefable goes for Thunder Wave and misses. Thank goodness, because they could have easily stalled out and like went for repeated Moonlights versus me. This Toucannon is a fully offensive set with Hurricane, Heat Wave, and Flash Cannon, which gets boosted by Sheer Force. And also I have Boom Burst on this because Boom Burst is just a very, very strong normal type special attack, and I'm running Terra Steel to boost the power of Flash Cannon while also resisting ice moves and just being a good defensive Terra overall. Now here I was thinking, well, they're not going to stay in with their Clefable, right? So I'm going to go for a Boom Burst here on the Volcarona coming in, which is nice. I didn't want to miss a Hurricane as like a potential Pokemon came in, because that would have been really annoying if the Clefable stayed in and I missed a Hurricane and it ended up like going for like Moonlight or something. So I went for another Boom Burst, which 2-hit KO'd the Volcarona. I didn't want to miss Hurricane again because that shaky 70% accuracy could really let me down. So Palafin comes in again. Now I am Terra Water on my Slitherwing, so I can always switch into this, but I know that the Palafin is probably going to go for another Flip Turn, which they do. Not that I could like stay in with my Toucannon, because I was always getting fainted by that. So Hydreigon comes in. And in hindsight, I probably should have just stayed in with Toucannon. But in my mind, I really wanted to preserve Toucannon because it was a great way for me to ensure that I get the KO on Clefable. And I needed something to get rid of the Clefable because, like I said, my Slitherwing wasn't going to be able to touch it. So Toucannon gets taken out by Draco Meteor from the Hydreigon. Not sure if this is like Choice Scarf or Choice Specs, but I'm going to go for the Choice Scarf Flip Turn on my Float Soul. Now, I wanted to bait out another Draco Meteor from this Hydreigon, whether it was Scarf or Specs. Judging from the damage at -2, it looks like it's not Specs at the very least. So this turn I thought, well, if they decide to stay in, I'm going to be able to get off some Morning Sun recovery at the very least. They do go for another Draco Meteor, and I am able to tank that. This Hydreigon is basically just lowering its special attack until it's at nothing. So going for the Morning Sun, I'm going to recover up like half of my HP. And this turn I thought, well, see, I don't want the Clefable coming in as I Morning Sun again, because then they're going to get off they're gonna get off a Moonlight and like heal, and I don't want them to heal versus me. So I'm gonna bring in my Float Soul. I'm gonna double out as they could bring in the Clefable. So I thought, okay, this is fine. I have my Choice Scarf Floatzel here, and the thing about Floatzel is that it really is known for doing one thing, and that's spamming Wave Crash, which is very powerful, especially boosted by Terra Water. I also needed Choice Scarf on this because I needed some form of speed control with this team. I also have Ice Spinner and Low Kick on this set for coverage. Being Water Veil on the set also ensures that I don't get burnt by anything either, which is nice. So going for the Wave Crash, that takes out the Clefable. They stay in, which is great. So that's really good for Slitherwing, but the thing is, they have this Hydreigon here, and I can't exactly switch into this Pokemon with like a Dark Pulse, so I have to stay in and go for the Wave Crash, and the Hydreigon's gonna go for the Dark Pulse and take out my Floatzel. So it's all down to my Slitherwing versus this Hydreigon and the what I anticipate to be Choice Banded Palafin. So Hydreigon's gonna go for another Dark Pulse. I'm just gonna go for the Body Press and take it out. I didn't want to stall out this Hydreigon's Dark Pulses and like try to recover as much as I possibly could, because Dark Pulse can flinch, and if I got flinched at any point, that would have sucked. So the last Pokemon is the Palafin. I know I could tank any water move from this thing, but unfortunately they have close combat, which I kind of definitely forgot that this Pokemon could run, and that's gonna be the end of my Slitherwing, unfortunately. But like I said, I wasn't able to stall out the Hydreigon's Dark Pulses because I was really worried about getting flinched, and the Palafin was always just going to be a problem for me in the end game. I will say, it did end up being a close game in the end, so I still enjoy how that game came out regardless. But anyway, that's going to lead into game number 2. And if you're enjoying this video, please consider hitting the like button. I would really appreciate it. My opponent's team is crazy. It's basically every single Pokemon that has gotten banned at one point. It is a heinous team. Am I even going to be able to win versus this team? Let's find out. So, my opponent is going to go ahead and lead off with Landorus, and I thought this was a really good lead for me, considering that I led off with my Choice Scarf Floatzel here. So I'm going to go straight for the Wave Crash. I was half expecting this Landorus to be Focus Sash, but it ends up falling over to a Wave Crash, which is amazing. So I'm going to take some recoil damage. In comes the Flutter Mane. So I thought, okay, well, this is going to be booster energy and speed. But it didn't, and it didn't get a booster energy, and I'm able to outspeed it. And since Flutter Mane has such terrible defenses, I was able to one-shot it with a Wave Crash. So that is a dream start, getting rid of two really just heinous Pokemon. But of course, they still have like a Qianpao and an Archaludon and Gouging Fire in the back. So I'm going to swap it to my Slitherwing. I thought Slitherwing was a great answer to this Qianpao, as long as it doesn't have freaking Psychic Fangs. There was a battle where I got critical hit by a Psychic Fangs from Qianpao, and I just lost the game. It was so bad. So Gouging Fire comes in this Pokemon. So I don't really have great switches into this Pokemon like at all on my team. So I thought, well, I'm just going to Terrasilize into the Water type again and resist whatever fire type moves this Gouging Fire goes for versus me. But they go for Iron Head, so I was like, okay, well, either way, I was still able to resist that hit at the very least. But I for sure thought it was going to go for like a Flare Blitz or like a Heat Crash or something. So they're going to end up swapping out their Gouging Fire. Probably see that I'm like a more defensive Slitherwing, and Qianpao comes in again. So I was like, okay, this is perfectly fine. Body Press is obviously going to do like a million to this thing, but of course it's going to have a Focus Sash. So I thought, well, I am fully physically defensive like I mentioned, so I should be able to take whatever hit this Qianpao goes for versus me, which I anticipate might be like a crunch. But they go for Sacred Sword, which still does quite a chunk of damage because of this Pokemon's really just crazy ability, but I'm able to take it out, which is great. So I'm up, like, they have half of their team left, and I have all 6 of my Pokemon, so I'm in a great position. Surely I won't be able to throw this one away. So Archaludon comes in. Oh my gosh, this Pokemon. So I'm gonna swap it to my Alola Raichu. I was really worried about this Pokemon having like Power Herb, Electro Shot, so they do go for the Electro Shot. So I thought, okay, well, this Pokemon has to be like Power Herb, surely, but they're not Power Herb. So this turn I went for the knockoff. I know that I could tank an Electro Shot from this, but I wanted to get rid of its item. I do get rid of its leftovers, which is really good. So they go for the Electro Shot. I take like over half. So I was like, okay, well, surely they just attack me with like a Dragon Pulse or something. So I want to go for my Endure strats against this thing. But they go for another Electro Shot. So now they're at +2 special attack, and they don't immediately attack me either. So I was like, shoot, this turn I went for a double Endure just to try to soak up the Electro Shot and get off like my 1 HP reversal. Really, I was worried about giving this Archaludon too many stamina boosts, But really, in hindsight, I feel like I should have just went for the reversal anyway, because I have to weaken this with my special attackers. So Freeze Dry does some great damage. Our Charodon's weakness is that it doesn't have great special defense. But of course, I'm going to get hit in the face by a flash cannon, and that's going to take me out. So I was like, well, I don't really have many reliable special attackers. I do have this insane Vivillon set, by the way. So since this is a Sunset Aroace team, I figured I had to have Sunny Day on at least one of my Pokemon, and I thought Vivillon was a great candidate because I could go for the Sunny Day Weather Ball, which turns Weather Ball into a Fire type move, and I have Terra Fire to even further boost the power of Weather Ball. This is also a Quiver Dance Vivillon as well with Air Slash, because Hurricane turns into a 50% accuracy move with the Sun, and even though I have Compound Eyes on this set, I didn't want to run Hurricane. So I'm going to set up the Sun. I am able to live the Flash Cannon thanks to my Focus Sash, and Weather Ball is going to be able to take out the threat that is our Charodon, which is good, but simultaneously I had to sacrifice my Focus Sash on this Pokemon and also my Cryogonal, and also Gouging Fire is going to get a Photosynthesis boost because I set up the Sun, and it's going to take me out and outspeed me. So I was like, well, this is fine. I still have my Slitherwing. The unfortunate thing about this Slitherwing is that I had Impish nature and not bold nature, so I'm able to get an attack boost in the Photosynthesis with the Photosynthesis, but I really wanted a defense boost. This set originally had Leech Life instead of Body Press, but I lost so many battles with this team, so I actually ended up switching from Leech Life to Body Press, but I never changed my nature. So I am able to recover a lot with the Morning Sun. Sunny Day is actually really good. It's really good synergy with my team because it could give my Slitherwing the Photosynthesis boost, but also I can recover more from Morning Sun, and it also boosts Heat Wave from Toucannon. It does hinder my Float Cell, which is unfortunate, but overall, it wasn't like the Sun was going to last like 8 turns. It was just meant to boost Vivillon mainly. So I'm able to take out the Gouging Fire, which is nice, and the last Pokemon is the Roaring Moon. Now, this is where the battle got really decisive. So the Roaring Moon is going to have its booster energy in attack. So I thought, okay, this Pokemon is instantly going to take me out with whatever move. I was hoping they would probably set up so I could go for the Will-O-Wisp burn, but they end up just going for the knockoff. Now this was a very crucial turn. I wasn't sure if this, not Gouging Fire, if this Roaring Moon was Terra Flying or if it was Terra Dragon or Terra Steel, because if I locked myself into Ice Spinner and they were Terra Steel, then that would be bad. But if I locked myself into Low Kick and they were Terra Flying, that would also be bad. So Roaring Moon ends up being Terra Steel, and I really banked on them being Terra Flying because I went for the Ice Spinner instead of going for the Low Kick. Ugh. I really wasn't expecting this Pokemon to be Terra Steel. Like genuinely, I really thought it would be Terra Flying with like Acrobatics because that works into conjunction with Booster Energy. So my last Pokemon is the Toucannon, and unfortunately the Roaring Moon goes for the knockoff, which knocks off my Life Orb, and that means my Heat Wave is not going to do nearly as much as it normally would if I was Sheer Force boosted. The game really, seriously, the game really came down to whether the Roaring Moon's freaking Terra, because like I said, it was either going to be Terra Flying or Terra Steel. Well, I wasn't expecting Terra Steel anyway. But that's the end of both games. Thank you all so much for watching. I really tried my best with this Aroace team, but I guess that's the idea. No relationships, no romance, no wins. No, that's messed up. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. My name is SkyLaaa. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you all next time.